Hi, I'm Caroline Tremaine. Many of you may recognise where I am right now, and many of you in fact may have driven around here heaps of times. When you've driven down here, you may have noticed some ships in the bay. Have you ever wondered what they may be carrying, where they've come from, and where they're going to? Maybe you didn't, but I did, so I wanted to find it out for myself. And now I'd like to show you. Now I know you want to hear about big ships, but before we go there, I'd like to give you a bit of a history lesson, an interesting one. Would you believe that not long ago this used to be dry land? Port Phillip Bay and Corio Bay are actually really young. They're only like 18,000 years old. Now, 18,000 years may sound like a long time to you and me, but in geological time, this is like yesterday. So what happened to form the bays? Well, about 20,000 years ago, the world was in an ice age and sea levels were much lower than they are today. In fact, sea levels were so much lower 20,000 years ago that you could actually walk from mainland Australia to Tasmania. Now, around 18,000 years ago, the Earth started to warm up. Sea levels began to rise and water started to flood into Port Phillip Bay and Corio Bay. I mean, it wasn't like a flood with water pouring in, it was a slow process and took about 12,000 years for the bays to reach their current water levels. Throughout this period, Aborigines lived around the bay, and in particular the Wathaurong tribe lived around Corio Bay. White settlement came much later. In fact, the first known Europeans to enter Port Phillip Bay were John Murray and his crew in 1802. And only 10 weeks later, Matthew Flinders in his ship, the Investigator. Very soon after this, in 1803, a settlement near Sorrento was established, but it didn't last long and was gone by 1804. It took another 30 years for Melbourne to be established in 1835, and pretty soon after that Geelong was settled in 1838. To become a trading port, the first pier built was Queen's Wharf in 1842. Ships that used the port in those days were very different to the modern ships we see today.